I'm not a real man because I refused to raise my ex as a fair kid and that's why she cheated. AITA, am I a mite hole for telling my ex I doesn't care if her daughter is crying about being left behind when my son's with me. I, 27, male, was with my ex for 4.5 years, and we had our son 6 together. We broke up when he was 2 after I learned she cheated on me and the baby she was carrying might not be mine when her daughter was born. We did a DNA test for both kids. My son was mine, which I felt I knew anyway, but it was also confirmed her daughter was not mine. She doesn't know who her daughter's father is, and I was asked by her parents and her sister to raise her as mine anyway, so the kids would be brought up the same. I said no, we weren't married. So it wasn't like I was the assumed father, which made it easier for me to just get 50% custody of my son and focus on being a dad to him. Things between us aren't good, and I don't play a role in her daughter's life. Exchanges her done quickly, and I don't engage when she tries to get me to interact with her daughter or asks me to consider including her. I have sent emails to keep documented proof that I am staying civil, but I don't want her daughter in my care, and I have communicated this with her mostly. It's not too bad, but lately she has been upping her efforts to get me involved in her daughter's life and to take her daughter on as my own. She even confronted me in public space and told me her daughter cries when her brother leaves and wants to run up and hug me, but since she knows I wouldn't be okay with that, she keeps her daughter away. She said it kills her. She also said her little girl didn't choose this, and she knows she messed up. But her daughter cries so much over me she asked if I could see her as our son's sister and love her as my daughter for his sake if not for hers. I told her I don't care. I did not make her daughter, and I will not be responsible for raising her daughter. I told her to put the work into finding her daughter's father and to leave me alone. Her sister DM'd me on social media and asked how I could be a dad, and so heartless about an innocent kid. Then her friend did the same with a more strongly worded email that accused me of being misogynistic and claimed I wouldn't act like this if she had another son, which isn't true at all. But she sure acted like it was me. Also now for the top comments. Yes, you are not the bigger man and are teaching your child to be a petty man in a process. No wonder your wife cheated on you. You're not a man. She wasn't my wife, and she's the one who chose to sleep around so much she doesn't know to father. If I'm such a little man, then sure she should look for a real man to be her daughter's father. She knows who the dad is. He either ghosted when she became pregnant, so he's not a fallback option, or he's not stable, or both. She cheated with more than one guy, and these were one-night hookups, so it's very easy to believe she doesn't. No, from my side it makes it worse for me because she put us all in danger with that. As long as you're prioritizing your own child's well-being, you are not the a-hole. It may be tough for the ex's daughter, but that's not your responsibility. Focus on your own family. Based on the timeline provided, this little girl wasn't even born when Opie left and is at most 4 years old now. She doesn't know Opie. So any expectations she has about Opie coming from her mother, assuming this drama about the little girl crying and wanting to hug him is even true, my money is on it being pure manipulation. The ex must be encouraging this and is actively harming her daughter in doing so. I'm sure there would be some tears and fear of missing out no matter what. It's still a little girl whose big brother is off doing something without her. But it sure sounds like the ex is making it so much worse. We can all feel sorry for the little girl while recognizing that any sorrow she feels is 100% the fault of the mother and not OP's issue to fix and not OP's issues to fix. However, would anyone be surprised if the mother wasn't going out of her way to ensure the daughter is unaffected, whether through a mission or commission? She's making it worse than it needs to be. Opie, your mantra is if you feel angry about the girl's circumstances, please direct your anger to whoever put her in that situation. I had no role in that. Don't name the mother. Just make the situation clearer, then block if necessary. Return to court if the mother keeps violating boundaries. I wonder about that too. She doesn't have to bring her daughter to exchanges. She doesn't have to let her go and distracted if I go by her house to pick my son up. I've tried to find ways to stop this girl from being present and it doesn't work. So that's on my. The next story might be old for walking. My sister, her down the aisle and saying I wouldn't do it for the girl my parents adopted. My parents were best friends with a couple named Ben and Kathy. They had a daughter who was a year younger than me. Growing up, she was horrible, especially to me. She'd steal my stuff, embarrass me in school and bully me in middle school. She passed around a photo of me as a toddler where I had no clothes on. She told everyone I wet the bed until I was 8. It turned out it was due to an undiagnosed kidney condition. She also tried to make me out to be a creep who was spying on girls changing. It wasn't true. It turned out to be her boyfriend at a time, but she said she saw me when some of the girls complained about feeling eyes on them. Ben and Kathy died when she was 15 and my parents adopted her and finished raising her. My sister and I were so angry at them. They knew what she was like, but they said she was family, and they promised her parents that we should love and be there for her. And after the death of her parents and being adopted by mine, she changed and suddenly wanted to be close to my sister and me, but we wanted nothing to do with her. Our parents put us in therapy and punished us for ignoring her. But we were angry with them too and had no contact when we went to college. My sister is 2 years younger than me. We are still very low contact. My sister got married a few weeks ago, didn't even invite our parents for this girl, and I walked her down the aisle at a family party over the weekend. It was talked about in our extended family. Found it sweet. Then the girl said something about doing it for both my sisters and I said no way I would ever do it for her. She looked hurt and my parents told me I was the one who couldn't let a child grow up and change how she was. I said she tried to get me in big trouble without spying on a girl's changing. I said that kind of thing can ruin people. I also told them they chose someone who was never family over their actual kids. My sister backed me up. They said I didn't have to act like it was outrageous that I wouldn't walk this girl down the aisle too, and they said she's my sister, whether I like it or not. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Stop engaging with all of them for peace of mind. Stop trying to explain. The answer ends at no. Why can't Opie's dad walk her down the aisle? Why is this even an issue? Opie's parents are just trying to start some drama. Agreed in both fronts. Not the a-hole, and don't engage. She may be your adopted sister, but she's also your bully. And that outweighs any familial relationship. Do your parents not care how this girl treated you? Sure, people can change, but scars from bullying never go away. Your adopted sister is going to have to live with the guilt and accept that you want nothing to do with her. The person walking down the aisle chooses who accompanies them, but one can also decline to do so. Stay low contact with your parents, and an adoptive sister's actions have consequences. Not the a-hole. They never acted like they cared. They put me at risk of being accused of even worse, and who knows why she didn't, but I feel so lucky because they didn't protect me from that heck they knew she was putting me through, and acting like she was still my family as someone else with an abusive adopted sibling. I didn't even tell my brother. It was a small affair, so I just prayed he didn't come by my parents' house because that's where we hosted the reception. I don't even let my toddler near my brother on the off chance he's around. Your parents didn't get the message when they were left out of their daughter's wedding. Also, this girl only said that you get a reaction and cause trouble. She fully knows you'd never do that. She's playing your parents for suckers. Nope. They still hope we'll reconcile one day. Maybe my sister will. She didn't deal with as much as me. Never. Next story. Am I an a-hole for telling my dad I'm not cutting off my grandma? For not treating my stepsister the same as me? My dad and grandma have been fighting a lot since he got married 5 years ago. Grandma knows that dad has poured way more energy into his stepdaughter 16, than me 17, and she tried to warn him that it was pushing me away. Dad would get defensive and say I needed to AJ to share him, and look, I get a mom out of it, like my stepsister got a dad out of it. She told him I was being left out and that it wasn't his wife's job to make up for him focusing on his stepdaughter. It was on him to be a father to his son. My dad called her an interfering old bat and told her to buzz off. I backed my grandma up during one of their fights, and he accused her of putting it in my head, but I went to her about it, not the other way around. In retaliation, my grandma spoiled me and showered me with love and affection, and she doesn't do anything for my sister. This made my dad and his wife super mad. They said we should be treated equally or neither gets anything. My grandma wrote out what I got for Christmas the year before they got married, the year they got married, and the year after they got married, and what my sister got. She showed them the disparity in what they got me versus her, and showed that she had previously treated us both the same with gifts and stuff, but not more. My stepsister is upset and hurt because she has no grandparents and wanted my grandma to accept her. I should probably feel bad about that, but I don't think she got my dad, so I'm glad grandma's loyal to me and some new girl in our lives. It's not her fault, but I don't consider her family. I wish she and her mom would go away again so I could have a good relationship with my dad, but my dad is crazy about his wife and stepdaughter, so it won't happen. I spent a lot of time with grandma. Because of everything, this annoys my dad. He said I should be loyal to my family, and I told him I am. He said he meant my sister and a family we have at home. I told him I don't have a sister. I live with a random girl, but she's not biologically his daughter nor legally. I told him I'm not going to let her get everything while I get nothing. He said I had a better life than her before their marriage, so I can't accept that she needs extra, and I told him no. I said he picked her over me, and I wouldn't forget it. Dad found out grandma got me a ton of stuff for Christmas, and I told him I'm going through a house this year. It told me I'm going to get showered in gifts and not cut off the woman who got her own granddaughter nothing for Christmas. I said I'm not cutting grandma off for a stepsister I didn't ask for and don't care about. I don't care if she doesn't treat us the same because at least someone is picking me over her. I told him this all goes back to him tossing me aside the very first chance he got and prioritized stepkid. He told me he was disappointed in my lack of empathy, and I told him he disappointed me in his failings as my dad, not his stepdaughter's dad, but mine. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your dad just trying to shove his new family down your throat, which never works. I don't know. Why do parents think it will be your mom in your life? Can you go live with her? Mom isn't in my life, so I can't live with her. Hopefully after a year you can move in with your grandma full time. Not the AOL, seriously, what did he expect? If I were you, I'd be asking Nana if I could. Moving in with her is being unreasonable, and just because he may have had a better life than her before the marriage is irrelevant. He shouldn't be pushing his own son out for another man's child. That's absurd. I'm glad you have a strong bond with her grandmother. I miss my Nana every day, and she's been gone 4 decades. Please stick to your guns. Parent that chooses a partner over their own children is a selfish AOL. He expected way too much and still doesn't get it, but he never will. He doesn't want to, so I'll deal with that reality. Your dad. As a parent, I'm sorry he's treating you like this. Go live with your grandma. You're old enough that even if he calls the police, they won't make you go home. I'll stay until I'm 18 just to make sure there isn't any legal issue. With me moving, I'd hate to make my life even more sucky, even if it's just for a short period until I'm 18. Last story. Am I an a-hole for evicting my sister from my house before she claims quads rights? My mother passed away in 2016. She had stage 4 cancer among other health issues. My older sister, who had been distant, finally stopped up and handled our mother's hospice care during her last year with us. I had bought a house and put my mother's name on it so she would have a home in her older age. Needless to say, my sister got power of attorney while our mom was in the hospital and created a will for her. I told my sister, who was staying with a friend, that if she needed a place to live, she was more than welcome to stay with me. I made it clear that this wasn't a permanent arrangement and that she would eventually need to move out. I also told her she could decorate as she liked to make herself feel at home, but I asked her to leave certain areas like the backyard and kitchen to me. My goal was to make her feel comfortable while she was staying with me. Life happens, and I know not everything goes as planned. My sister is a cancer survivor and has had complications after recovery. At one point she had to be on bed rest for a few months, so I made sure she was comfortable and didn't have to worry about anything during that time. Her daughter also moved in to help her recover. My niece has been living in New York City, but her lease was ending and they asked if she could stay with me temporarily while she figured out her next steps. When my sister first moved in, I helped her find a few jobs. We live in a bigger city, and she didn't know anyone here. However, she's had about 6 or 7 jobs since moving in, and none of them worked out for her. From what I've gathered, there's always some kind of drama with her managers or co-workers. Eventually I had to stop finding her jobs, because I started losing friends over it. Now to the heart of the issue. Last year in December 2023, I let my sister know that my girlfriend and I wanted to take our relationship to the next level, and I asked if she could please find a place to live by spring 2024. I thought she understood me, but by spring I realized that wasn't the case. When I asked if she had found a place to live, she was shocked. Then she became angry, saying she felt like I was kicking her out. She also brought up my house, claiming she was owed a portion of it because our mother's name was on it. After I got her to calmly talk to me, we discussed things further. She eventually agreed to look for a place within the next 6 months. This was in March 2024. I told her I would help her with rent money and moving costs to make the transition easier for her. When she asked about the timeline, I said 6 months should be plenty of time to find a place and move out, but I asked her not to make me wait another year. This is now December 5th, 2024. She texted me this morning saying, "What if I can't find a place by the 15th? What do you want me to do, and how am I supposed to pack in 2 weeks?" I didn't check in with her weekly about her search for a place, but I figured she was an who could handle it if she had asked me about storing some of her things here until she got settled. I would have said that's fine. I didn't expect her to move everything in one go. So am I an a-hole? Here it would be more useful to consult a lawyer for legal advice rather than moral advice here. Find out if you're late. Mother's ownership passed to your sister, as well as how squatters' rights work in your area. Apologies for not mentioning that my house has a joint tenancy with right of survivorship deed. I was giving my dying mother a little peace of mind. Dude, she hasn't been looking for anywhere else to live. You've given her a year now, and she still hasn't gone anywhere because she has no intention of doing so. You need to find that shiny spine and tell her to get the heck out. Now she has taken advantage of you for long enough. If we were kids, I definitely would have dragged her out of my room by now. I've softened up.